Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs REKAP Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts with my longtime partner, my friend. He is Gordon Wittenmeyer. I'm David Kaplan. It's brought to you by the Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. Lives, including yours, depend on it. Please slow down. All right, G-Dub. So you are in Atlanta, the site of the AllStar game. We will talk about what Cubs should be All-Stars. Yeah, there's that logo right back there.
Yeah, if you can, I don't know if you can make it out if you're watching this on YouTube, but it's there.
Yep, it's there. But let's first talk about the state of the Cubs, because since the last time we spoke, Shota Imanaga has ended up on the injured list. It looks like it is a very mild hamstring strain, and they're saying 2 weeks. Craig Counsell said, let's see, might be a touch more than that, but they were very encouraged by the imaging, which is a really important thing. It's not a guess. They see the imaging, and Craig Counsell said it's mild. So hopefully he's back in a couple weeks. But they will have at least 2, I'm guessing 3 or 4 starts they have to cover. Now, I have said, you're going to New York this weekend. I personally would start Chris Flexon. I would not bring Kade Horton up to pitch at Citi Field. I would, if I'm going to use Kade Horton, I would use him next week when the Cubs are home against the Marlins. But my thought is, let's let Kade stay down there a little longer. He's only thrown 199 combined innings in the last 4 years. 1 at Oklahoma, 3 in the Cubs system, and then bring him up maybe in the beginning of June if things are continuing to go well. He threw last 2 times out, I believe, 1 run in 6 innings. The other day, 6 innings of 1-run baseball where his control was really, really good. What would you do?
Actually, I'll push back on you with that Citi Field versus Wrigley thing. I know it's New York and it's a big stage, but it's also not quite Yankee Stadium. I know there's Soto in that lineup and Alonso in that lineup, but I like the idea of guys debuting on the road, especially pitchers, starting pitchers. So even though it's Citi Field, even though it's New York and a powerful lineup, I like that idea. I get the Marlins lineup, but when you're pitching at home and it's a full house at Wrigley, the confines are small. It's a different setting. It's going to be harder to bring those nerves down. And I think it's better. You might as well just throw them out there in New York. But obviously what they're going to do, you're going to have to wait and see what your bullpen looks like and how the team's looking by the time you get there before you make that call. I tell you what, man, if Imanaga is a month or more, that could be really critical. It's a good thing for the Cubs they banked wins in April, because your starting pitching staff right now is looking really shaky and really in crisis, honestly.
Yeah, when you lose your top 2 starters, both really tough lefties, both guys, all-star caliber guys, absolutely that's a problem. But, today Ben Brown is pitching against the Giants, and through 3 innings, he's throwing the ball really well. He's coming off an excellent start in a shutout of the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee last week. We've seen Jameson Tyone.
Can you keep the bullpen out of this?
Pardon me?
No, it doesn't matter. I said, can he keep the bullpen out of this? No.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to throw a complete game for you, but if you can count on him to be solid, you can count on Tyone, who's been excellent. Colin Ray was last night. Look, at some point, Jed is going to go out and make a deal for a bullpen arm, a starting pitcher, and then if Matt Shaw is indeed coming back at some point, he won't go out and get a third baseman. But if Matt Shaw struggles in the minors, and he's been better, we'll see. There are things Jed has to address when we get into June. Agree?
Yeah, third base is the last thing I'm worried about if I'm Jed Hoyer. He's got to address how he's going to cover the rotation innings. He's got to definitely address the bullpen, because you're already facing the short innings out of your starters coming up, and they've done okay with innings so far, league-wide, as they compare, but going forward without Imanaga and get Colin Ray in there, and you're going to just sort of take what you can get from him, you can't lean too hard on that bullpen. They've shown you that already. You don't have that kind of a pen. So he's got a lot more to worry about than anything involved with that hitting lineup.
Okay, so on Tuesday night, the Cubs offense again shows up, and they're down 5-3 in the ninth, and they find a way to tie the ball game. Justin Turner comes off the bench, second time in 4 days. He gets a big pinch hit, and it's a 5-4 ball game, and then they go to the lefty. I think it's Eric Miller, big hard throwing lefty, and Kyle Tucker is up. And Kyle Tucker takes the first pitch. It's a fastball, 98, but he's trying to get ahead of him. Bam, right up the gut. I mean, a rope. Now it's a 5-5 game. Suzuki strikes out, so you can't get the go-ahead or the winning run there. They hold him. Porter Hodge does in the 10th. The Cubs get first and third with one out, and PCA up against this lefty. And I said to my wife, got a bunt here. Got a bunt here. You got wheels. I just need one run. I don't know if he can hit this guy. This guy's stuff is filthy. He drops down. They decide not to do it. Counsel was asked after the game, did you think about bunting? Yeah, I thought about it, but Pete's been locked in. And of course he strikes out, and it was a feeble at bat. I mean, he had no chance against that guy. Would you have bunted?
In that case, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Game over if he gets it down.
If he gets it down, game over. I'm going to take a shot because I did not believe it. And I love PCA. I did not believe he was going to hit this guy. And guess what? You get the bunt down, suicide squeeze. Here we go. Game over. You win. Even a safety squeeze.
Yeah.
So they didn't.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
He strikes
and then,
out.
And then we know what happened after that.
Correct. Then Dansby hits a line drive. I rock it. But right at Matt Chapman, you go to the 11th. Ryan Presley has not given up an earned run since March 29th. Not one. And guess what? He gives up, I think, 8 of them. He was horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if you saw, one of the nerds at The Athletic did a story deep diving on some early season numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And your boy Presley makes the
list. He only
list
had 5 strikeouts.
Yeah. Well, there's peripherals behind that. So what happened Tuesday night, I mean, nobody could predict a complete level of implosion that we saw Tuesday night, but he was doing it with smoke and mirrors up till then, man. Because I just had this up. Here it is. Ryan Presley, 93 stuff plus. Now, I'm not one of these guys. They got to explain what this crap is. But basically what it boils down to is that he's, let me see here. His stuff isn't what it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
His velocity isn't what it used to be. And so now, let me see here. The worst stuff plus of anybody in baseball with 3 or more saves. So basically, we're talking about anybody that can remotely consider themselves a closer. He's the second worst in the majors. And
yet,
I think this
did not give up an earned run in the month of April.
Right. Again, smoke and mirrors. I mean, Rod Beck was a closer that saved, 50 games one year?
And was doing smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. So, this is a problem for a team that plans to be in the playoffs, especially one that thinks it might think it can win in the playoffs. So I don't know what they do. Hodge doesn't look like he's necessarily ready for that yet, but he's got the profile. Maybe he's, your guy at some point. And there's a reason the Houston Astros give up on these former closers. I mean, there's a reason they're former closers for the Astros. They're one of the more sophisticated pitching organizations in the game. If they're giving up on a guy, that might tell you something. Maybe if you're the Cubs, lay off the Narises and the Presleys and, leave the ex-closers from the Astros alone.
Yeah, fair. It's like trading for wide receivers from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It doesn't always work out well when you give up a pick for Chase Claypool. The interesting thing is you mentioned Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge is the guy that navigated the 10th. He has great stuff, man. He does. Great stuff. Maybe I know they had to tell Presley he was going to be the closer to get him to come here to Chicago. Yeah. I don't know how long you have to live up to that promise if indeed his stuff doesn't play in high leverage.
I'll tell you what, you could transition it by just mixing and matching for a while. You don't even have to make it public. Just you can take Presley aside to tell him. You don't even have to tell anybody else but Presley, just because of his credentials and stature as a veteran, and just decide if it's, if you like Hodge in a situation better, go with him. If you don't like the matchups, if he's facing the top of the order and it's tough matchups, maybe you don't go with Presley that night, even if he's rested.
Yeah, that's a conversation that Craig and Jed would have to sit down and have with Ryan Presley. And he's got to be team-oriented enough to accept it. And I hear he is.
Well, he had to accept it in Houston. I mean, they paid $5.5 million to send his ass to Chicago. So this is a reality that he's already come face-to-face with. And if it means that he can contribute to a winning team, I would imagine that a professional that's been around the game as long as he has will buy in.
But I was told that when he agreed to waive his no trade and come to Chicago, it was with the understanding he was the closer. So the situation, what I'm saying is, has to be managed properly.
No question. And by the way, if somebody's telling you you're Ryan Presley and they want to trade you to the Cubs, you're looking at that bullpen and you're saying, I don't need any assurances. Obviously, I'm the closer. And if I'm not, boy, there's a lot wrong with me.
Fair. All right. So you would bring Kade Horton up to pitch in New York. We touched on it at the beginning. Tell me why you would do that when you could give him a softer landing spot against the Marlins.
I don't think it's necessarily softer when you're pitching at home in front of a full house at Wrigley, even if it's the Marlins. The lineup's a softer landing, but I'm not sure the environment is. And that's what I'm talking about. We've seen that before. Their MO typically is to go debut a guy in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or a smaller marketplace where there's less of that, where you get the butterflies out after a pitch or two. Now, I don't think either one of those is a great option, and maybe they don't do either one. But obviously, you got the one lineup's easier than the other. I think even in New York, it's not Yankee Stadium, Citi Field. What they used to call Yankee Stadium? What was that joke that Schilling had during the World Series when you're the Mystique, Aura and Mystique, or he said all the names that people call Yankee Stadium, it sound like strippers, but Mystique and something. Anyway, Citi Field doesn't have any of that. Citi Field has airplanes that fly over. So the environment is a lot less intimidating.
I'll have to look up what Curt Schilling said. I remember
the word Mystique and Curt Schilling in Yankee Stadium, and you'll find it.
Yeah, I will. What do you say? Look up Curt Schilling in Yankee Stadium?
And the word mystique.
Oh, and mystique.
It's one of the words.
I will absolutely look it up. I want to talk to you about, as of today, it's May 7th. Who do you think is an all-star today? And again, another month or so, we'll have balloting already going on. But as of today, who are the Cubs that you think belong in the All-Star game?
It ain't Ryan Presley.
No.
We thought Imanaga would be maybe one of those guys. And if he's out for even 3 weeks, like you think he might be, I don't see that happening. It's tough to make it as a starting pitcher anyway. So I don't know if anybody off the pitching staff is going to be a candidate. So you go to that lineup that, let me see, top scoring team in the majors, They ranked second and third in almost every major offensive category. And we know who the usual suspects are on a given night leading that charge. I think we both probably agree, right? As we sit here right now, Kyle Tucker, for sure.
PCA,
And
Kyle Tucker,
yeah.
Carson Kelly.
Well, I think the first two, anybody would say those guys are favorites unless they fall off the table with their production over the next month or month plus. Those two guys are in great position for it. PCA, what a great story that guy is.
Oh, it's been unbelievable.
And if the Cubs win the division, those guys will be in the MVP race if they keep this stuff up.
By the way, Curt Schilling, not to interrupt you, Curt Schilling, he was asked during the 0-1 World Series against the New York Yankees, Arizona Diamondbacks players were asked about Mystique and Aura, the two muses who seemed to charm the Yankees into winning games 3, 4, and 5 in New York. Schilling's response, those are just dancers in a nightclub.
That's what it was. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Pretty good, and I'm no Curt Schilling fan.
Carson Kelly's an interesting call. Thing is, he's played more games than Amaya, but that's going to be the big thing for him. Even if he keeps up the production, he's got to play enough. But his production's friggin' amazing. He's got a 500 on base percentage and 8 home runs, 350 something batting average, and for the number of games he's played, he doesn't qualify, but he's got a 1300 OPS. He's done nothing but rake, really, from the start. So I like that idea a lot, but it's going to be tough if people are looking at him and wondering if he's even the regular starter.
Carson Kelly is 17th in baseball in WAR.
Yeah.
17th.
Yeah. That's crazy. In 21 games.
Yeah, it's insane. PCA is 7th this morning. Kyle Tucker is 10th. Carson Kelly is 17th. Those are the highest ranked Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, check out these numbers. Here's PCA, tied for 4th in runs, tied for 8th in total bases, tied for 10th in doubles, tied for 9th in home runs, 4th in stolen bases. And 4 Cubs, what do I got here? 4 Cubs have played every game this year, including him, which puts them, there aren't very many teams that can say that. And Kyle Tucker, what has he got? He's top 5 in RBIs, 31. He's top 10. He's even got 2 triples, top 10, right? 10th in MLB in on-base percentage, 10th in OPS, 6th in total bases, tied for 9th in home runs, 3rd in runs. He's tied for 6th with Tatis in offensive WAR.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 27 walks. That's tied for 6th. I mean, he's doing everything. He's literally doing everything. He's even got 9 stolen bases. He's doing everything. So those two guys, those are easy. But who are your dark horses? Who are the guys that can put themselves in position if they either maybe keep up some production or get hot? Well, I got one that you're not even going to think of, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy.
Michael Busch.
No, he's on the list, but I don't think that would be crazy at all.
So who are you talking about?
Well, okay, we think Suzuki's got good numbers, right? Busch has good numbers. Hap's been there before. He could get hot. I mean, all these guys are like reasonable depending on what their next month looks like. But a guy that's put himself in position where if he gets hot, Nico Horner. And
he'd have to get smoking hot.
Yeah, but there's also this. There aren't second base is not a loaded position like some of these other ones too. So that's going to play in his favor. And so if he's doing real well, then there might be an opening for him where there aren't openings for some other guys.
Today, Kyle Tucker is the DH in the finale against the Giants. I'm cool with that. Give him a day off his feet, so to speak, other than the bat. But I think that was not about Kyle Tucker. I think that was more about letting Seiya get into the outfield. He has said, I'd like to play a little out there. I don't want to just be a DH.
Just don't hit it to him. No, I'm not. No, I wouldn't play him at all.
Never.
I was
You've
just
never.
I was talking to a Japanese writer the other day.
I would hate to play for you. You'd be a horrible communicator manager. Horrible.
Yeah, but you got beat your ass on the field every day with my team.
Your team would be like, yeah, we're out. This guy.
You're out of your mind. People would tune you out.
How to manage your guys.
Dude, the guy, you've got gold glovers at all three positions. Why would you ever put Seiya Suzuki, who drops the routine fly ball, in the outfield? I would never put him out there. It's like Edgar Martinez back in the day. He was a third baseman. He set a Mariners record for most errors in a game. Eventually, he almost killed his catcher and got himself killed on a routine pop-up in foul territory. Lou Piniella eventually said, "You're never going to play in the field ever, ever, ever again."
And you know that Seiya Suzuki is a 5-time winner of the NPB Golden Glove Award in Japan. I was saying.
I just talked to a Japanese writer the other day who was well aware of his career and witnessed it back when he was in Japan, and he has no idea how he won those. And when we saw him come to the U.S., all he did was like make you wonder if Stevie Wonder's voting.
You got to let him have a couple of games.
No, you don't. You don't ever have to take his glove away. He doesn't use it anyway.
So you would never give him, if he said to you, "Hey, I'm going to bust my ass for you." But it was like when I was a college basketball coach. Guess what? There were times where I have to give this guy a couple shots. He's not a good shooter. Because
that's basketball. That's a different thing. Look, DH is a position. It's a spot. And he's shown, look at his numbers. His numbers are good. He can handle it. Some guys can't. Some guys have to play in the field at least sometimes to feel part of the game. He's handling it just fine. Leave him alone. Leave him out of the outfield. Don't let him drop any more balls. And just leave him, just load him up with bats, take away all his gloves.
All right, before I let you go, as you've made your travels around baseball so far, have you seen a starting pitcher that you thought, I'd trade for that guy? Because I'm not trading for Sandy Alcantara right now. He has not been good.
I saw Sandy Alcantara's only quality start this year, and it was minimal. It was 6 in 3 runs. Hey, he had velocity and a changeup, but no, I wouldn't trade for him. I haven't seen the White Sox yet. I haven't seen the A's. I'm trying to think of teams that might be in position to trade. I saw the Rockies. They're really hard to read. I don't know if they're trading pitching anyway. It's right now that market doesn't look real robust.
No, right now it does not. Before I ask Gordon a couple last things, want to let you know that our Cubs Recap Podcast is brought to you by the Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only, and it is a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives including yours. Depend on it. That is courtesy of the Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. All right, Gordon, the Cubs, by the way, while I got the game on while you are there in Atlanta, the Cubs are trailing 2-0 to the Giants. I think the Giants are a really good baseball team. I really do.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're the one team that the Reds have played the season series against. They're a much better team than I think people thought. Now, going in, a lot of people thought they were good, certainly improved. They added Willie Adames, they added Justin Verlander. They already had some pieces in place. A lot of people thought they were going to be competitive. They just didn't stack them up with the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks. But, man, I tell you what, they look like they can hang with most of those teams out there, and I think they're a real threat for a playoff spot.
I absolutely do. Is there a team or two you've seen that you went, yeah, no, they're done? Up the track.
I wondered about the Braves before we got to Atlanta here, and I came in a day early. I saw them beat the Dodgers Sunday. I lost the series, but they've been playing a lot better since they got off to a slow start. They're starting to look like the team maybe people expected to see. So The Mets are way better than I thought they'd be. Milwaukee. I thought Milwaukee would be a little better, and maybe that's just because of recency bias, where I saw them, cover some pitching holes in the past. But they're not going anywhere. No,
I've watched them a lot, and I'm not impressed with Milwaukee's team. Do you think the Braves, once they get their whole team together, that's a team that can make a deep run, or no?
I think so, especially when you get to the playoffs. They've got a couple of frontline guys in their rotation, and if Acuna's back, I don't see why not. The problem is the National League has all the really, really, really good teams, and that's going to be a cage match on that side of the bracket. It'd be a whole lot easier to predict if one or two of these teams were in the American League, because that's wide open for a different reason. There aren't as many juggernauts over there.
All right, last thing. Somebody made the comment that Aaron Judge is the greatest right-hand hitter in the history of the sport. Agree or disagree?
Oh, that is so difficult to say. No,
you've got Manny Ramirez. You've got Frank
it's hard
Thomas.
to compare. Look, I know this is splitting hairs, and it's a generation thing too. Look at his strikeouts compared to DiMaggio, compared to Josh Gibson, compared to Edgar Martinez, who we just talked about.
Who are Albert Bell, Frank Thomas, Manny Ramirez. Who else? You mentioned Edgar.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron, great hitters. But they say Aaron Judge is the best of all time.
That's, let's wait until his career's over. You can put him in that debate as a short list of the best going right now, the best hitters, period, in the game right now of his generation, however you want to phrase it. Let's wait till it's over, see how it stacks up. And then see if the smart guys over at The Athletic can run some nerd algorithms and compare to other generations.
All right, the Chicago Cubs are trailing 3-0. They just got PCA made a phenomenal throw to the plate. Runner was called safe. Craig Counsell gives you the challenge it, and here comes the umpire. Overturned, out at the plate. 3-0, bottom 4. Small hill for a climber, Gordon.
Good luck with that.
Have a great rest of your day, okay?
All right, you too.
All right, that's my guy, Gordon Wittenmeyer. It's our Cubs Recap Podcast, brought to you by the Illinois Tollways If Only campaign. Please, please slow down. If only I had slowed down. For Gordon, for our great crew, I'm Kap. See you next week. Take that.